everybody tonight. Seems like everything's a little bit off center today. Hey, Raina. How you doing today? We are doing good. We are doing good. So I just unplugged the internet right before we jumped on here, about 10 minutes before we jumped on, because I wanted to put the plug somewhere else and didn't even think I was going to unplug the Wi-Fi. But it did. It unplugged the Wi-Fi. And so our internet's still kind of rebooting. So if you see some technical issues, that's what it is. No biggie. It'll catch up. And maybe I can switch it to the Ethernet. Maybe that'll be better. I don't know. We may have some technical issues here in a minute.
Oh, they're there.
What's up, Mark? Mike Tucker, how's it going? And Raina, how's everybody doing today? We got 7 in the chat, 7 hanging out, 7 doing good. I feel good. I went to work today and I did what we talked about last night. What's up, Bob? So, Linky, turn it down. You're going to get it to go. The audio will circle. Ah, Link's a big fan. Look at that. Right on.
Like a fan.
Millie's sleepy.
That's better.
So if it gets a little glitchy right here in the beginning, about 10 minutes ago, I unplugged my internet, switching a plug. Like I wasn't even thinking about it. So it'll just take a second to work itself out. Bob did what we talked about. What's up, TJ? Nice to see you, brah. Let's put him up on the screen. Let's see if this is the TJ I was thinking about. Is that Madonna? Welcome, Tej. So yesterday we had a list of things to do. Let's see if anybody remembers that list. I wrote it down here on this piece of paper that is invisible because it's yellow. Check it out.
It's magic.
But it says when we got out of bed, we were going to pray, right? And the second thing we were going to do is start thinking immediately positive thoughts. And then the third thing we were going to do, as soon as we got to work or wherever you were going, the first person you run into, you were going to say something nice and uplift them. So let me tell you about my day. I got out of bed, I prayed, I walked around getting my clothes together. So I was praying throughout that whole time. And I was thinking positively about how it was going to be when I get to work, and had the chat last night was awesome and I enjoyed it. So I just started thinking positively instead of negatively about what I was going to do. And as soon as I got to work, I got out of the truck, I walked in the door. The first person I saw sitting at the table, I said, "Hey, buddy, you're looking good today." He looked at himself. "Oh, thank you." And it just made me happy. So then I just took it everywhere I went into my little spot, said hello to everybody in a positive way. And their attitudes were lifted. And then I went over to her office and did the same thing. And they asked me, "What do you want?" So they thought I had an ulterior motive on that one. But I didn't. What's up, Cody White? Do we know Cody White? I'm not sure that I've seen this one. Seen you in here before. Man, you guys are awesome. I wish to be on y'all's live one. What about tonight, Cody?
Level.
Huh?
Level.
Oh, level. Well, we're on the same level as you. We just get on YouTube and talk about it. That's all. No different levels here. We're all in recovery, and we've been talking about recovery. Last night, we went through chapter 5 of this book, Staying Sober, which I thought was really awesome. I chewed and meditated on all of that. It's kind of nice for me because I will pre-read it, and then I go back, and then we kind of go through it and read it, and talk about it, and comment about it. So I get a little bit more. What's up, JL? Welcome to the show. I am your host of Recovering Addict. I am LT. This is my beautiful co-host,
Felice Weaver.
Felice Weaver.
Mrs. Weaver. You may call me Mrs. Weaver.
Mrs. Weaver. Sober James, one day at a time, Cody.
The Mrs.
Hey, Mama Kenny. Mama of Kenny. Welcome. So did you guys, and we decided to bring a gratitude list, right? Oh, that was right. So we did 3 things today, right? This morning we got up, we prayed first. The second thing was we immediately engaged in positive thinking. And the third thing is the first person we ran into outside of our house, we had lifted them up with positive thoughts or actually positive words and anything to uplift them. Did anybody else do that? Bob, you said you did. What happened? Amen. Sober James, I wouldn't be where I am today without her, honestly. I probably would be dead, more than likely. And then the second thing, our little homework assignment from Sunday night, because Sunday night we hit it hard, we grind hard into our character defects, and we want to start and kick off the whole week in recovery. Because remember last night we learned that recovery is not just stopping going to meetings or having thoughts about drinking or actually drinking or using drugs. It starts way before that. So Monday morning, the grind, everybody's got the Sunday night blues. We wake up and we kick the oh, sheesh. Did they just lose us?
Well, not yet.
So Ethernet is still working, I hope. Are we frozen?
No, you're just thinking. It's just a little behind on my phone.
Okay. Sorry, I
You're so
unplugged
good.
the stinking internet.
We're so good.
Okay. About to see some character defects.
All that this morning, but just about went out the window.
Yeah. And then the second little piece of our homework was to come with a warning sign that you see in yourself before you have the thoughts of using and before you start talking yourself from going to AA or NA meetings or doing things to keep you in recovery. And then the second thing on the second list is one thing off of your gratitude list. Did anybody contemplate on gratitude and a gratitude list and what they were thankful for, something that they were thankful for today?
I really enjoyed the gratitude list this morning. That's about the only thing that got me out of bed because I didn't want to go and start thinking about all the things I was grateful for.
Was alcohol your main substance? So Mike Tucker, in my early 20s, well, you know how all the stories goes of most addicts. I'm just like everybody else. I started young and I partied hard until I was 21, 22. I can't remember really exactly, but it all led me to a severe meth addiction. I became a homeless tweaker on the streets, running from law enforcement, running from Bell's bondsmen, stealing, just the whole awake for days and weeks and stress and anxiety until I committed a second-degree felony burglary, which landed me into the county system for a year and 4 months in a halfway house and then a couple years of probation. And that got me clean off of meth. And then the day I got off probation, I smoked weed. So I didn't really understand the whole addiction thing. I guess, knew I had an addictive personality, but I didn't take the addiction seriously, not understand. I knew I never wanted to do meth again. I literally held hands with a demon and did whatever his ideas were to do. And we did them, and we were successful at a lot of them except for that burglary. And, well, a few other things too. But I started smoking weed until I was like 28. 28, I switched career fields or jobs or whatever you want to call it and had to get a drug test. So that got me off marijuana. And I didn't drink or do drugs or anything from the age 28 to 33 is about the estimated time I figured. And then 33, I just started drinking again on the weekends at a barbecue. I don't even know how it just kind of creeped in. It just all of a sudden creeped in. We were drinking Corona. Oh, it was a Corona. I would take Corona.
You got the coronavirus.
And I'd take Corona and I'd put lime and salt all around it and then put salt all over the thing. And it was just delicious. Anyway, that led me all the way up into my 40s until one night I drank I was drinking close to a fifth a night in gallons on the weekend. And yesterday I pulled up a picture, if you guys want to see it again, of August 17th. This is the last weekend I drank, of me at 10 in the morning. I'll scoot your head that way. But that's me right there. August 17th, 2019 at 10:02 or something like that in the morning it was a Sunday morning. So I was probably on my fourth one of these right here. And I think I drank a couple more after that before I checked into detox. That's a pathetic, miserable picture. I didn't even know I took that picture. I was actually scrolling through my pictures and like, wow, look at that. It's pretty sad and pathetic, but that was a good weekend in the sense that the next day or the next, I can't remember exactly, I checked myself into detox. So that was good. And I kind of like this background here because it feels like we're on a recovery train. So where are we at? Hey, Christina. That's my cousin right there. What's up, cuz? About to see some. We were that close, dude. I'm not even kidding. So are you a convicted felon? See, that's the kind of hard thing. I don't know. I was charged with a felony, and then I did probation and got off. So was I convicted, or did they give me a chance? I don't know. But I do have a felony on my record, and I've had to report it. And it's kind of weird. The job that I have now, I mean, God has been a blessing in my whole life from the get-go, obviously. But for me to be a meth addict, tweaker, homeless, running the streets, to committing a felony, being in jail for a year, and having the job that I have with the clearance and stuff that I have is just, it's like 0.1%. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Where are we at? Bob says he's grateful for his work and his awesome crew. It's seasonal work, but the same crew comes back every spring, and it's like a family there. I like my job, and it's enjoyable. That's awesome. And you did the greenhouse thing, right? So Cody White, I'm having a hard time making it past a few days. I'm debating rehab, but been to AA, but can't make anything stick. Once 5 p.m. hits, I'm back where I started. Oh, 32. How do I stick to it? I lived in that routine for a solid 3.5, 4 years of every day drinking. I would get up, hungover, ashamed, guilty, driving to work, miserable, wondering if I stink. And by noon, I had lunch. By 2:30, 3 o'clock, it's time to get off work. I feel great. And bam, as fast as I could to the liquor store. When not but 4 hours earlier, I did not want to drink. I was swore to God I was going to quit. I even tried taking naltrexone, went to the doctor for that. That cuts off the receptor cells so that your body doesn't get that reward system. That pill didn't work. I tried to do the whole weaning thing. That did not work for me because as soon as liquor touched my lips, that saying in the big book that we have the phenomenon of craving, we have an allergy towards it. As soon as it enters our body, we're off to the races. And that was me. I tried to do the pint, half pint, and then just decrease it each day. I never made it past the first. I guaranteed I drank more after that. What it took for me is I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I got sick. I'm like, sick of it, but I kept drinking for another couple of years until one day, like that picture on that weekend, I just got so blitzed drunk. I'd started missing work. Just like step one says, my life became unmanageable, and I checked myself into a detox center because I know as much as I was drinking could kill you. It could, you know the effects of quitting alcohol cold turkey. You'd have seizures. It'll kill you. It's possible to kill you. So I was like, screw it. I called my dad, drunker than drunk, and he took me to a detox center. I checked in. I got out of that detox center, and my buddy calls me and was like, hey, bro, you want to help me build a deck? I don't know how. And I know how to build some stuff. And I was thinking, man, I don't know. So we charged a lot for this deck, and she said yes. And I was like, okay. So I went out and I got to work. I got out in the sun. I built a nice big old deck, got all sweaty. And then I think it was a week later, I checked myself into an IOP, which is an intense outpatient program. And I did that outpatient program for 5 months, 5 days a week, 3.5 hours every night, where we did steps 1 through 5 with multiple assignments in between. And then I transitioned only 2 months ago. So Cody, if I wouldn't have relapsed at 47 days, I would have 217 days clean. But because of my relapse, my birthday got pushed to 170 days ago. So I've almost hit the exact 6-month mark. And my relapse was completely ridiculous. It was my addict thinking, and goes to show that that recovery is more than just quitting. Quitting is the first step and is the most important step. But to help you, you got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired. You have to do it for yourself. I see how it looks like you have a daughter in your picture. I have 4 kids and a wife, and I didn't quit for them. A lot of people think, oh, why don't you do it for your kids and your family? People that don't understand addiction. And it's not like we don't love our family and love our kids or anything like that. I don't know. The addiction just becomes so much more important. It just blinds us. And we know we're guilty of it, but we know we get 3 or 4 swigs into a 5th or something, and that guilt goes away and it feels good and it's party time. I would suggest, if you don't have the time to go to a IOP, and if you're serious about it, if you are sick and tired of being sick and tired, commit to 90 and 90. I don't know if you've heard that term before, but it's 90 meetings in 90 days. There's an app you can download. It has a little white chair on it. It's called the meeting app for AA. You can even do NA meetings. They're both very similar. Two little bit different crowds, but the same addiction affects everybody. I would suggest hitting 90 and 90. Just go to one meeting every day. Just commit to it. And if you can commit to that, you're going to commit to your sobriety. It's going to take, and try to hit that meeting about 6 o'clock in the afternoon. If you have the time if you had time to drink, you have time to do this. So take that 1 hour every night at 6 o'clock, 5 or 7 o'clock, and just go hit that meeting and sit there. You don't even have to talk. Just listen. I was told that the first year of sobriety, just to absorb as much as you can, you're going to hear old timers talk. You're going to see newcomers come in. You're going to hear stories of tragedy and, and heartache and divorce and death and relapse. Soak it all in, learn and listen for the tools during those readings that they say in the beginning. Just really concentrate on what they are. Go home and look them up and study them, because they work. It works if you work it, and it works because it's simple, and it works because if you work it, it works. I'm living proof. I have a bunch of friends who are living proof. A bunch of people in this chat right here are living proof that it works. So commit to 90 and 90. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and give it a go, man. And that hour that you do, strategically place it in the time that you would drink, because it's going to take and fill that time. Nature abhors a vacuum. If you're going to remove alcohol, you need to replace it with something positive, and then start thinking about your mind and learning character defects and going through the whole thing. Go just read through this 12 steps. Just kind of start familiarizing yourself with the tools, the concepts, and commit to these meetings. You know what I mean?
And definitely do it for you.
And do it for yourself.
Don't do it for your kids. Do it for you. Because I know that if he was to do it for me, it wouldn't last, because I'm not perfect. I can't be his pedestal or whatever that he looks to, because if I'm gone, then he would fail. And we've seen it in a few people. But if he does it for him, then he's doing it for him.
Yeah. And I always heard the saying, when an airplane's crashing down, you put the mask on yourself and then you put it on your family. So take care of yourself and don't feel guilty for going to one meeting every night.
Your family will see more of you going to those meetings than they'll see of you being a drunk or addict or whatever
you're going to be more cognitively there, that you're going to be more enjoyable to be around. I've have a friend who I was in rehab with, and I asked her the same question that he asked his wife. He's like, sorry, I'm being so irritable and this and that. And she's like, no, you're great. I love being around you now. And it's like, really? Because you feel like you're just in this bad place in the first, 2-3 months, especially at that 30 to 40 day mark, when that your addict starts talking to you. Watch out for that. It's going to happen. You're going to have struggles. So find meetings, I don't know if you've seen Sober James or not, but he goes on this right before I do. And he has he's got enough videos you could watch. You could do the 90 and 90 and one of his videos every night, and then catch his live stream. Nicole from Real Talk Recovery, she goes on right before James. And hang on, I'm going to back up through these comments and get going. But just fill your time with recovery, anything to do with recovery. So meth demons, yes, I felt like I was holding a demon's hand, and anything evil he would say, we did. And the demon was right here. It was the addict. It was Ted. Actually, it was Ted. If you guys go back and watch some of my videos, his name's Ted. Oh, we saw that one. Where are we at?
Right.
There. Amen, Raina. Yes, James, literally. Grateful for my staff and my job. And there's my
Bob, you're
cuz.
basically like an oxygen factory, I decided. You produce oxygen.
I agree, Sober James. And if you can hook up and you got anything, you can, if you have James, throw your link in the channel real quick, and we'll point them in that direction. Doing great. Mama Penny. Okay. Does that mean you're not doing okay? Did anybody else do our little, our Sunday night homework? Do whatever notice Sober James said, willing to do whatever it takes. You got to get to that point where you're going to do whatever it takes. What's up, Polly? What's up, cuz? Polly's from Philly. How you doing? I went to ride throughout Philadelphia. There's a lot of homeless addicts out there on the streets. It's bad. It's rough on the streets of Philly. Bruce Springsteen. Lasting sobriety when you're willing to do whatever. Amen. Polly Pinch, what's good? Cody, Mike Hawk. Hey, what's up, Mike? Glad you're here. I feel you there. I know I feel Cody's pain because I'm not, like Sober James, he's got 4 years on us. The guy I have to look it up every time I read you guys' literature. He doesn't. He just like blah, 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 just right off the top of his head. Went to my old church. It was closed, but I asked God to forgive me. Amen. And everything, be a better person, the best person I can be. Yeah. Polly, that lifts my spirits. Going to work hungover, trying to act normal is the worst. I told this last night, but I have to give briefings where I work, and I would get up in front of this crowd of people, and my paper would be shaking like this, and I would try to steady it, like, oh, geez, and then I'd start fumbling over my words because I knew that I stunk like whiskey, and just ridiculous. Has anyone seen the movie A Million Little Pieces? It's pretty good. Rosie D, what's going on? No, I haven't seen it. But we're going to write that down because every time somebody suggests a movie, we watch it. I started watching that Kidding that Sober James suggested. That show's a trip, man. Jim Carrey.
Is this your math? Is the same as math?
That's Amos's math.
Doesn't even make sense.
What's up, Alicia? I'm glad you're here. Mike Tucker, drinking all that poison makes us mentally ill. Literally, it does. It rewires the brain. It literally causes brain damage. The longer, prolonged, heavy use of alcohol literally gives you brain damage. Its end goal is to kill you. And you're right, it is poison.
I read the other day, it makes your brain shrink.
It makes your brain shrink.
It's crazy.
I have 3 kids and it kills me. You know what my son said to me? So I got out of my IOP and Link, where is Link? He's supposed to be coming on here.
He even washed his hair so he'd look nice.
Yeah, Link Ty combed his hair. So my son was in an accident a few years ago, like almost 3 years now. And now he joins us on the show. He likes to give us motivation and jokes.
Oh, he lost his paper with all his quotes on it.
No, he did. He did.
Yeah, he was really bummed about it, and he hasn't come back.
But my son Link, he's so we did this. We went through this whole huge accident with him, and I drank even more after the accident. But he came up to me 3-4 months ago, put his arm around me, and he says, "It sure feels good to have my real dad back, not my drunk dad." I was just like, oh. So Cody, I feel your pain, and the fact that you're actually up in here getting these feelings off your chest, it sounds like you're pretty sick and tired of being tired.
Would it be Harry Potter?
Oh, Alicia.
Everybody, that is my little sister who will not go grocery shopping for me. But
and we're not watching Harry Potter.
She's pretty awesome. I love her.
I do too. Don't worry, he won't get very far on foot.
I'll write that one down.
Sweet. What did we watch last night? That was pretty good. Oh, 3 Days to Kill with Kevin Costner. That was pretty good. And it is poison. Hey, Lynn B. Recovery movie, that is. Sweet. No, Alicia. All right, y'all. Say it with me. Just for today, my thoughts will be on my recovery, living, and enjoying life without using drugs. Just for today, I will have faith in someone in NA who believes in me and wants to help me in my recovery. Just for today, I will have a program. I will try to follow it to the best of my ability. Just for today, through NA, Recovering Addict, Sober James, Real Talk Recovery, I will try to get better perspective on my life. Just for today, I will be unafraid. My thoughts will be on my new associations, people who are not using, who have found a new way of life. So long as I follow these ways, I have nothing to fear. Polly Pinch, that Springsteen song you mentioned, really yanked my chain a few times. Philadelphia, cried real tears. Had to Google the scene from the video, everything, learned a few things. Nice. Philadelphia, that means brotherly love. Hi, daughter.
She just lipsticked me.
We'll watch it tonight, James. For sure. Hey. So we've been going through this book called Staying Sober. And yesterday, let's recap a little bit of what we talked about. We talked about the mistaken beliefs of the role of alcohol in recovery. We concluded that relapse is always the result of conscious and deliberate choice to use alcohol and drugs. That's a misconception. And not using alcohols and drugs is my primary task in recovery. So to stay sober is, obviously we're here to stay sober, but that is not your primary task in recovery. And that's that whole thing that gets us into the dry drunk. Relapse does not occur suddenly and spontaneously without warnings. So we have warnings. So did anybody think to bring a warning of what they experience before they enter relapse? Anybody in the comments? One of my warning signs is its character defects as always. I don't understand why I had a craving when that earthquake hit. I just felt like partying. It was weird. But the week prior, I was living in what's that called? When you're beating yourself up. Damn. Self-condemnation.
Yeah.
I was really being in self-condemnation. I was being discontent with where I was at. And those type of warning signs, when you start heading down that road, is what leads you to the point of wanting to use, fantasizing about using. So one of mine is boredom. Oh, here's two of mine. Boredom and self-condemnation and discontent.
Link found his stuff that was in his pocket the whole time.
Hi, Jim. Oh, I never looked at it that way.
Ah.
The Exorcist. Oh, did you find your list?
It was in his pocket the whole entire time.
Oh, Linky. That's okay. All right. We are ready for a motivational quote from Link Tai.
I got
The whole
5 of
bunch.
them.
Just one at a time. We'll go through them all.
Act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. William James.
Huh. Act as
It's
if
like
what
Sober
you do
James.
makes a difference because it does. I like that.
That's good. What?
Thank you, Linky.
Yes.
Oh,
Obsessing
what
over alcohol is a huge red flag. Lynn, do you think that, so what the book is telling us, that obsessing over alcohol is a post sign of what you've been going through? Say it's Friday and you started obsessing over alcohol. Maybe this trigger started happening on Monday. Is there something in your walk throughout that week that led you to that? Or is your experience to all of a sudden just obsess over alcohol?
The vomit scene.
So let's start getting into this chapter 6. It's called Understanding the Relapse Process. So what is relapse? If relapse is not just using alcohol, and it's more than just thinking about alcohol, and it's more than just missing AA or NA meetings or whatever, what is relapse? The question is not easy to answer as it appears at first. To get an accurate answer, let us examine how the concepts of relapse developed historically. So back in the day, we're going to talk about how this all came about back in the day. In the early days of AA, in the mid-30s, alcoholics were considered to have relapsed only when they began drinking again. Relapse was defined by as simple as a return to alcohol use. As alcoholics started substituting drug use for drinking, they became aware that alcoholics cannot safely use any sedative drug. Sedative drugs, see there? Alcohol is a sedative drug, and it is now known that any sedative drug has an effect on the body similar to alcohol. In fact, some professional people have begun using the term sedativism instead of alcoholism, because it is not the alcohol that is the problem, but the reaction of the body to sedative drugs. So relapse came to mean, back in the 30s, to use any sedative drug, including alcohol. And then with the common use of the variety of drugs in the 60s, some people began to be aware that any type of mood-altering drug could trigger relapse. Drugs such as amphetamines, marijuana, cocaine, or LSD have an effect on the body that is different from the effect of a sedative drug like alcohol, but they still change the mental and emotional state and impair judgment so that the person begins to move away from recovery. They have the same behavioral effects because they cause you to feel good now, cause pain later, and induce obsession, compulsion, and loss of control. Abusing any drug or combination of drug will also eventually cause biopsychosocial damage. It became clear that any mood-altering drug can reactivate the addiction cycle. As a result of this new knowledge, alcoholics began to think of relapse as use of any mood-altering chemical. And remember that alcohol is a mood-altering chemical. So understanding what relapse is has changed from alcohol use to use of any sedative drug. Then it switched to what we know now as use of any mood-altering drug. What's up, Murd? Glad you could make it. Welcome to the show. So where are we at? I've actually dressed like the girl from The Exorcist from Halloween. Oh, I should have uploaded the picture of the person we saw walking up our street today. It had to be a kid. I'm going to try to get it on the camera for you. Speaking of Halloween costumes.
Biopsychosocial. Does anybody else have to look that up? Do you know what that is?
I don't feel like biopsychosocial. Alexa, what does biopsychosocial mean?
Biopsychosocial is usually defined as relating to the biopsychosocial perspective, the idea that the mind and the body are inseparable entities or having biological, psychological, and social characteristics.
So it damages that?
Yeah. Wow. Don't read that out loud. Spoil kids in the room.
You're in the way.
So Cody says, I beat myself up because I'm not with my unit anymore. So you were a police officer? No. Dang it. He got out of the military for his kids and turned out not being a good person. And they needed because all I think about is being gone again. Wow. So I beat myself up because I'm not with my unit anymore. Oh, so your unit in the military. I got out of the military for my kids and I turned out not being the person they needed because all I think about is being gone again. Did you serve a couple tours over there? And that became your and is that what you're coping with, is coming back from overseas and stuff? I know there's a lot of people that can relate to that. So what can we do to fix it? That's the recovery part. So the recovery part's not just getting rid of the alcohol, but it's fixing that thought and mind process. You have to, I would say, get a counselor even, because there was things that I didn't realize that I needed to process in my life, and to get it off your chest and have a counselor walk you through it. There's power and healing in that. The obsession starts even days or weeks before. Wow. I just don't know another adjective that we're. Then Murd's in there. Oh, we got a whole bunch of comments. Slipknot. Where did that one comment go? Oh, Bob, there he is. Apathy. The word might get work. I get bad apathy before I relapse. Really? Apathetic. Ugh. What's the exact definition? Alexa, what does apathy mean?
Apathy is usually defined as absence or suppression of passion, emotion, or excitement. For more, ask me to give you more definitions for apathy.
That is kind of how I felt as well a couple weeks ago when I made that video on perspective. I had no passion for anything except for like this. That can definitely lead. See, that's the kind of stuff we're getting at. And that's the stuff that we have to nail down. And how do we fix those when they arise? When we recognize, say, Sunday we were doing great, and all of a sudden Monday we wake up thinking on these thoughts, how do we change those negative defects into positive assets, positive character assets? I almost went out but decided not to because I came to the conclusion that resisting the urge to drink is going to save you so much trouble plus time and money. Murd's playing the tape through. Cody, if you decide you want to go drink, play the tape. What's the end result? If I go buy this bottle of whiskey, it's going to cost me how much money, and how much money have I already spent? And when I get home, I'm going to drink it. And then what's going to happen? I'm going to neglect the kids emotionally. And like what I did is I would disappear and they wouldn't see me until they would see me 5 minutes a day. And that was me running to the basement to get drunk. Marilyn Manson.
I think we were like
Hey, what's up, JJ?
Mutual distancing.
Yeah, absolutely. Alicia asked you a question, Cody.
He said Georgia.
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 Massachusetts. There's them 22-inch pythons on Allen. That is awesome. You can go to the VA. It helps a lot. Yeah. All right. So somebody, I think it might have been Lynn B yesterday, said stinking thinking. And it's actually in this book. I didn't get it. I never heard that before in this, but I see what you were getting at now. I think it was that you, Lynn B, that said stinking thinking yesterday? So while thinking of relapse as a return to alcohol or drug use, professional treatment provides and members of AA have always recognized that it takes more than just not using alcohol or drugs to recover. Only the first step of AA mentions alcohol. So you got 12 steps of the AA or NA, and only the first one mentions drugs. We admitted that we were powerless over our addiction or alcohol, and that our lives had become unmanageable. And then the rest of the steps are to get you recovered. That's recovery, walking through those. I got some funny comments, AA sayings that are pretty funny. One of them is, I've never done anything, and us addicts, I've never done anything in moderation except maybe these steps.
You don't
Right?
bend your steps.
If we treated our recovery the way that we treated our addiction, where would we be in life personally? How much better would the world be in our circumference? We all have a footprint we put on this world, and we encounter people daily, and they are affected one way by us or another. How much better if we worked our program like we treated our addiction and put it top priority over life and death. The other steps talk about how to live sober. Instead of focusing on the not drinking, the focus is on learning how to live effectively and comfortable without addictive use. This leads us to the concept that relapse has much to do with how an individual is functioning as it does with whether or not that person is using alcohol or drugs. Not using alcohol or drugs is a prerequisite of recovery, but recovery involves much more than simply not using. With this way of thinking, the process of relapse includes becoming dysfunctional in sobriety. This dysfunction may involve physical, psychological, or social health. This does not mean that addictive use is not relapse. It means that the process of relapse is occurring before addictive use begins. When addictive use starts, it is a result of the relapse process that is already occurring. Addictive use is the way to medicate the pain of dysfunction, and the dysfunction begins as a mental process that AA is called stinking thinking. See? Who was that said stinking thinking yesterday?
It was Lynn.
Was it Lynn? I read that today. I was like, oh, I've circled it and I wrote your name by it. You're in control of this.
I know, but then you always go back, so I kind of gave up.
Oh. What did Mert say? Hit the ones that I should comment. If they're just talking to each other, then just let
This
them.
one. Good job, Murd. I wanted to bring this up because that is very awesome.
I'm very proud of myself. I just had to stay home and take a nap. Felt so much better after. So that was today. You almost relapsed and ran out. Is that what I read? But you decided to take a nap and now you feel better and now you're here. That's awesome. Let's give it up for Mert.
Round of applause.
I used to be able to get drunk and hold everything together, but as time has gone by, you find yourself in crazy situations when you drink stuff straight out of a movie.
Like The Exorcist?
That's no doubt.
For sure. So Lynn did mention it. Merd said thank you.
Thank you, James. Much appreciated. And
Oh, sorry.
have your channel too. Thank you, LT. Oh, we're here for you, brother.
JJ said that.
JJ, the 12 steps are just a guide to life for people that don't know how to live normal. I think it's a guide to life for everybody. I think people who don't have addiction problems need to go through these 12 steps because honestly, I don't think anybody knows how to live normally. They think they do out there. And that's the tough part about work is I go there now and I see people who are not addicts or alcoholics, but they live and swim in their character defects. And then I work around a bunch of alcoholics who just haven't admitted it yet.
Yeah. And yeah, I think the steps are for everybody too, not being an addict.
Hey, good night, Raina.
Good night, Raina.
Get better. We'll
Miss
check
you
on you.
already.
We'll check on you tomorrow.
Channel.
What did JJ say there again?
Which one? This one?
Yeah.
Just talking about James's channel. Whoops. Oh, not that one.
Said I've been working on some and about put up this.
Yeah, it's about.
I've been working on some and I'm about to put up a channel this week. Yeah? Oh, that's right. You're doing a podcast and that stuff, huh? Yes. Let's hook up, dude.
What is normal? I don't think it exists.
What's up, Linky? Come hang out with us.
I have a video for mom.
No videos. That's for later.
Okay, get an haircut.
Oh my gosh. We'll definitely watch that later.
Normal is the setting on a washing machine. That's true.
She thinks you're funny.
That's hilarious.
Ah.
We're the luckiest people in the world because we have a shot at cleaning up our minds. I think, yeah, I agree with that, Bob. And not only do we have a shot at cleaning up our minds, we actually got the vision that we need to clean up our minds. A lot of people don't get that
They're
awakening.
Still in denial. I think recovering addicts are the most honest, genuine, compassionate people I've ever met.
You're saying that, or is that a comment you just read?
No, I'm saying that to everybody.
Yeah, I agree. There comes sitting in. That was one of the biggest things, Cody, when I went to my IOP, was to finally be around a group of people, because the IOP, it fluctuated between 8 to 18 people, and I saw more leave than I saw stick around. But the honest, open conversation between people, instead of this daily smiley glad hands. Has anybody got that quote yet? Where it's song that's from? Smiley glad hands with hidden agendas. You're just around all day. People trying to level up at work and people trying to be proud about just things that don't matter in life. Then you get around a bunch of people who hit rock bottom as in addiction, and you are just around the most open and on, and it's such a breath of fresh air. And then you get to vent and you build a trust and a family with these people. I highly suggest an IOP. IOP is intense outpatient. Now, this is a good one. I circled this whole block. So many recovering alcoholics have remained drug-free, but have committed suicide or have collapsed physically or emotionally. This is not recovery. The concept of relapse processes, drinking or drug use, only prevents treatment of sobriety-based symptoms of addiction. Many sobriety-based symptoms of alcoholism and chemical dependence have been ignored or misinterpreted as psychological or psychiatric problems. Depression, confusion, and anxiety that emerges as symptoms of acute and post-acute withdrawal are not recognized as symptoms of the addiction. So, appropriate treatment for them is not sought or offered. Does that make sense? People don't understand this, so they think they need to have the treatment to quit drinking. And so once they quit drinking, they don't seek any other type of treatment or counseling after that. And a lot of these people end up bankrupt. I mean emotionally and physically. They commit suicide. They collapse emotionally and physically because they're never seeking treatment beyond just the desire to stop using, because it's more. That's what this book's getting at. This book is trying to drive us deep into the mind of an addict and show you exactly the root cause and problem of your problems. You can always ask yourself, I learned this in a course I took about finding out the root cause of a problem, is you ask 5 whys. You have something that's happening and you say, why did this happen? Because of this. Well, why did this happen? Because of this. Well, why did that happen? Because of this. And usually by the time you get to the 5th one, you find the root cause of that problem. And then that is the problem that you solve. So remember to ask 5 whys to find out. So if this is the overlying arching result of this problem that you don't see, this is what happened. This is the consequence. If you realize all of a sudden, what? How did this happen? Ask 5 whys and it'll drive you down to the root cause. Like my mother, never been a drinker or anything, and she always takes personal inventory, and when wrong, admit it. Oh, step 10. She makes amends and does the steps without knowing it. Awesome. Some people are good people out there, man. They do this stuff without needing it. But I'd say the majority do. What's the next one?
It's James. I'll call.
That's right. That's what we just said on this other page. Or are we behind in comments?
No.
Oh. My mom is the kind of person who can just drink 1 beer and be fine with that. My dad was an alcoholic. Yeah, my mom was the same way. I think I seen my mom drink once maybe. But my dad, I never saw him drink because he's a full-blown alcoholic. But to this day, he's an addict. Just like after chapter 3 in the big book doesn't always talk about drinking. After 3, it's about how to apply everything. Yep. Lots of narcissistic, psychopathic. Yeah. Narcissistic, psychopathic, OCD, depressive, manic. Just throw a whole...
I don't know. Does a lot of it have to do with how you were raised?
Sometimes, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I don't know.
Life can be so scary and anxious sometimes, but you have to get a hold of yourself and tell yourself things can be much worse with this life in order to feel better. That's a gratitude list, definitely.
Gratitude.
Yeah, James said the same thing. We're on the same page, James. We must live the recovery life. The best medicine today has for the whole gambit of the DSM-5 is to push pills at. Yeah, blessed because we are actually digging in and getting to the root causes. Hey, man, I love that. I love digging down and getting to the root causes. That's one of the things I was doing at work. I would gather teams together and we would find a problem in the process. And then we would have to dig and find the root cause of it, because it never was what you thought it was. You saw the symptoms of this problem and you thought you had the solution before you even started these meetings. And by the time you came out, it was the pink toilet paper in the bathroom was put on backwards, and it led to that problem. You switch it around and everything goes backwards. It's crazy. Dig down into those root problems.
That's hard to maintain without practice. Gratitude.
Yeah, it's practice and gratitude. We spent how many years of our lives creating the unhealthy, toxic habit of addiction? It's got to be, we have to put just as much effort into recovery if we want it to take fast, especially. And it's practice, practice, practice. And you must have tons of gratitude. You got us an inspirational quote?
I'm naturally like an optimistic, positive person, but it is very easy to get pulled down into just the negative thinking and talking. So it's nice that everybody went through and did the gratitude thing today and had positive attitudes, because it only takes one person to change the whole mood of the room.
Yeah. And it's fun to do too.
It is fun. It throws everybody off and they're like, well,
Oh,
we're going to be happy.
Give Sober James his. Linky wrote you you tell him.
I wrote you a quote, Sober James. Keep it simple. And I got one for the rest of the viewers. Fall 7 times, stand up 8.
Fall 7 times, stand up 8. Nice. Linky always remembers hearing you say, keep it simple. So he wrote it back for you. We got you on the TV or on the computer blasting through the speakers, James, quite often. Everybody gets sober James experience in our house.
Don't let your son drive you to drink.
My son is driving. Oh, what's up, Nicole?
Just push him down. Just kidding. Don't push him down.
I know how you feel. My oldest son, boy. Woo-wee. He's 15, knows it all, has no motivation to do any of it all. My goodness. Yeah, I know how you feel, Nicole. Where was I?
I can't take it. Duct tape, always an option.
I like this little formula they have in this book. If you decide to start, you can
It's free,
substitute other drugs. You can do cross drugs or cross addictions. You don't want to go down that road. A lot of alcoholics think because they do this drug over here, they're not drinking, that they're sober. But our minds, our addictive, who we are, our disease, whatever you want to call it, leads us to another road of addiction. And anything will do in a pinch, and usually leads us back to our drug of choice eventually. But it goes with pain plus alcohol equals immediate pleasure plus future pain. And that's the cycle. Pain plus drugs and alcohol equals immediate pleasure plus future pain. That's it. Chemically dependent people have come to rely on a primary drug of choice to cope with life. If, when they abstain from that drug, they merely substitute a new drug, they can develop a dependency on that new drug. The substitute drug may not be as effective as the primary drug of choice in relieving the pain. This causes these people to think about and crave the original drug. Also, during the periods of intoxication, their judgment may be impaired, causing them to make an irresponsible choice to use the primary drug again. So like I said, it leads you right back around. What are we doing on time? We doing good on time?
Yeah. That's 4 days more than you had 4 days ago, Cody.
Everybody
Perfect.
starts at 1, man. We all have a 20. If everybody in here has been to AA, everybody has a 24-hour chip. Look at this one right here on mine. See this little chip right here? It says 1 day at a time. That's your first 24 hours. I had 24, then it went to 30, and then it went back to 1 because I relapsed, and now I'm on the train. I'm on this recovery train. But you're obviously doing the right thing too, Cody, because what does it say in the big book? If you see what we have and you want it, do what we do, basically. Once went 9 months. Now I can't go 4 days. Man, Cody, I know exactly where you are. Everybody in this chat knows and feels exactly where you are. We know. We've been there. Some of us have just recently been there, like myself. And it's awesome to have you here because it gives us motivation to keep doing. And then we can all practice our step 12 and deliver the message and help and pour our hearts into you and go home tonight and pray or go home. We're at our home probably, but we can pray for you tonight before we go to bed.
We're on a train.
Who said that?
We are. We're not home.
Yeah, we're on a train.
We're on recovery train.
So you guys, if you want to help me out, hit that like button. Don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe if you're not already, and share this video or share my page or share any of my videos on your social media websites. That's 3 ways you can help us achieve what we're doing here. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and to share what we're doing here. Because we're doing this every night at 8 o'clock. Cody, I don't know if
Link, your quote comes in right now.
what is it?
Fall 7 times, stand up 8.
Yeah.
Boom.
So for those of you that don't know, this is what's going on. 6 o'clock, we got Nicole. 7 o'clock, we got Sober James. And then I wrap it up with the late show at 8 o'clock here at Recovering Addict. This is the triangle of recovery, and it works well. Nicole, she is very knowledgeable in maintenance and coming off opiates and how to get through drugs when you have a high chance for relapse. If you're really relapse prone, Nicole is a very good person to talk to. Sober James has 4 years under his belt and a story that includes dang near, well, I think he said he died a couple times technically. And then I am here as a pretty much new guy, 6 months under my belt. I've had a lot of addiction training when I was coming out of my meth, and then I've brought that with me into my alcohol when finally the miracle happened after day 47 of my relapse. And we've all dedicated during this whole coronavirus where meetings and everything are shut down at 8 o'clock or at 6, 7, and 8, and that's all mountain time. It's 7, 8, and 9 if you're where Nicole is, and it's 8, 9, and 10 if you're where Sober James is. To do this every night until we are no longer needed and we can resume our regular scheduled programs. That's what's going on.
We are on the train, Sober James. It's not an illusion.
The train that doesn't make smoke because we're staying sober.
Oh, you got a joke for us,
Is
bud?
it a smokeless train?
What's your joke of the day? You got a joke of the day for everybody?
Why did the bicycle collapse?
Why?
Because he was too tired.
Nice one. So that's going to take us into what is the role of compulsive behavior?
Those are just
Compulsive behaviors are actions that produce intense excitement or emotional release and are followed by long-term pain or discomfort. These behaviors can be internal, you're either thinking, imagining, or feeling, or external, working, playing, and talking. Compulsive behaviors make you feel good in the short run, but weaken you in the long run. Many people who are recovering from alcoholism or drug dependency attempt to substitute compulsive behaviors for the use of addictive drugs. For some, the result is the development of a severe compulsive behavior that can interfere with recovery. Now, remember, the addictive equation is pain plus alcohol and drugs equals immediate pleasure and future pain. When a person comes to rely on compulsive behaviors as a substitute for alcohol or drugs, the equation changes to this: pain plus compulsive behavior equals immediate pleasure plus future pain. So a lot of times when we come out of addiction and we're into our recovery, or we think we're into recovery, we replaced alcohol or drugs with compulsive behavior. Compulsive behaviors can be eating or diet. This includes compulsive overeating or compulsive dieting, often called anorexia, and the combination of compulsive binge eating followed by compulsive dieting and vomiting are called bulimia. A lot of people will jump into gambling, the compulsive need to risk, or working or achieving, the compulsive need to keep busy accomplishing things or excel at everything done. Or a lot of people overdo it when they get into fitness, the compulsive need to stimulate the body through physical exertion. Some people go to sex, the compulsive need to have sexual experiences.
I know, Sober James.
What do you say?
Why was Snoop Dogg carrying an umbrella? For drizzle. Not T Wizzle.
Jay says he would come on. Bob says sometimes the guy the 6 months has better sobriety than the guy with 12 years. That is a fact.
Yes, I got one.
Say it's first day of the registered life.
That is a fact.
Snoop Dogg.
Where am I?
You're right.
JJ, shoot me an email. Let's connect, and maybe you can come on here tomorrow if you want to. I'm cool with that. So a lot of times, thrill seeking is a compulsive behavior. Sometimes escape. So the compulsion to need to avoid daily routines in life or spending your money. The compulsive need to buy or acquire possessions. Those are a lot of unhealthy things that we can do when we're in recovery that are going to possibly take us back to relapse. And those kind of things are what we need to focus on. What are your character defects? Where are your thoughts? Where's your mind? Do that inventory every day at night. When you get home, reevaluate and try to do different things tomorrow. Think about your diet and your compulsive behaviors. I know I'm very a person that's compulsive. I'll find a good idea and I'll jump on it and do it amazing for like 3 to 4 weeks and then just like meh, and give up on it instead of just taking it slow and steady. You know what I mean? So I'm working on that very hard. So let's talk about positive outlets versus compulsive behaviors. We're almost finished. Actually, no, we're not. All right, so we'll just go through this. No, I think we'll end it there. We'll pick up where we left off tomorrow. It's already 9. We can sit and chit chat, talk about some other things. I want to read a couple of these funny deals. Here's one for you, and this could be for 90 and 90. I bet you'll know what I'm talking about. If you like everyone in AA, you're not going to enough meetings. You are not responsible for your disease, but you are responsible for your behavior. Sponsoring yourself is like using unskilled labor. I'm my own sponsor.
Well, your deck's gonna look crappy.
An alcoholic without a sponsor is like leaving Dracula in charge of a blood bank. I like that one. Before this time, the only I would get anytime would be when I would be locked up and not have any money to buy drugs. Yeah, I've been there. And anybody else is welcome to shoot me an email on there too. And we also have a private Facebook page. If you guys want to join that, it's another place we can vent daily throughout our day to each other and ask for strength and courage and hope, or give strength and courage and hope. Either way, it's a good place to go. I'll put that in the description as well. People have what you call an addictive personality. I know I do. On the recovery train, gotta love it. Yeah.
Woo-hoo. Thank you. Woo-hoo's on the
Oh,
train.
thank you guys. Love to have one of you guys as
Linkies.
my mentor. Hey, we're all here for you, brother. There's my email. Shoot me an email. We'll connect through there. I'll give you my cell phone number and you can text me and all that kind of stuff. Me and Polly, we talk on the phone a lot. I've talked to Raina a lot on the phone. I've talked to Nicole and Sober James. I'm down to give my phone number out. Lol. And there's the Facebook group if you guys want to join.
A lot of times I laugh out loud.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
Dang it. I didn't know what she meant anyway. That's okay.
You gotta say IKR.
That's okay.
All right.
You don't have to have
I
Facebook.
know.
You don't have to join. It's just a suggestion. Just like coming here is a suggestion. If you want to come here, that's great. If not, then that's fine. So tomorrow, let's do the same thing. Let's wake up and pray. Let's immediately jump into positive thoughts. And the first person we come across, once we leave our house, something uplifting to that person. And smile. And then think about one of your warning signs and how to defeat it. And then contemplate on one of what you're grateful for in your gratitude list.
Ooh, read Raina's thing. That's pretty good.
Oh, Raina posted on Facebook, I would rather go through life sober, believing that I'm an alcoholic, than to go through life drunk, trying to convince myself that I am not. I agree with that. Hey, Rob texted me.
Homework, and y'all
Good
thought you were
stuff,
done
my
with
friend.
homework.
Another thing you do for homework is tell someone their shirt looks nice.
Think.
Yeah.
Sure looks
awesome.
nice.
My shirt looks nice.
You're right.
Just kidding. Your shirt looks nice.
Okay, homework.
Awesome.
Dude, hero.
Yeah, Cody, don't give up on yourself. You're on day 4.
No.
I'm going to quote Sober James.
Jeez.
I think he said he can't go 4 days without it.
Are you drinking right now, or have you not been drinking for 4 days? And I'm going to quote Sober James. I'm going to encourage you to start doing the 90 and 90, and don't drink. Go to meetings. I think sponsor told Sober James that, and it's that simple. Don't drink. Go to meetings. It sounds tough, but just for the next 90 days, man, throw it down. Join us on here, because I'll guarantee this quarantine thing ain't going away anytime soon. I don't think big groups of people meeting together, because these viruses, they come in waves. We might get away with the first one, and like the Spanish flu, it had 3 waves to it, and the third wave was the most deadly. I'm not saying that's going to happen, because I don't have a clue. I'm just riding. I'm along for the ride like you guys, but I don't think it's going to go anywhere for a while. And it's possible that we could be doing this live. We definitely will be having some type of live stream for the next 90 days, but this intense every night live stream is going to happen for a while, at least with me. And I imagine Nicole and James are probably pretty much on board too, because that's our mission in life now, is to help get this message out there, help people that we once were and we still are, just in recovery. I don't know your email, but here's mine.
Go on up. He answered your question.
Yeah, I'm drinking now. I know how you feel right this second, but which isn't a bad thing. I have a video on there, the 5 stages of recovery, and you are in that one stage. I think it's stage 2, but you know it's wrecking your life. You know it's not good. You're actually still in your active addiction, but you're seeking out help, and I'm saying you're on the right path. I think you just need to do it. Do the damn thing, like James would say. All right, did you write that down?
What?
That.
No.
JJ Griffin. I'm going to shoot him an email right now.
Well, he shoots him his email. I have another quote.
What is it?
You have the power to say, "This is not the way my story will end."
You do have that power.
You have the power to say, "This is not how my story will end," which makes me think of that deal that I read or heard online or on the radio. I think I heard it on the radio. But sit down and write your obituary. If you were to die today, what would your obituary say about you? And then rewrite it to what you want it to say, unless you're happy with it. So what is it? JJBRIF 40 at gmail.com. Yeah, I just sent you an email, bro. Lynn B says, I actually need to spend time doing other things because I've been tempted to do more exercise, even though it's already excessive. Do you have anything that you're interested in, like hobbies or anything, Lynn? Exercise was a huge hobby for me for a while. I was doing 2-a-days and doing everything you need to do to make gains. And it was time consuming. There's no doubt about that. There are lots of online meetings. Yes, there is. Oh, I was actually in a Zoom meeting today, and it was kind of a bummer. It was scheduled at the same time that Sober James was on, because I like watching Sober James. But it was my first one, and it was actually pretty cool. I got to see all my homies from around town that I haven't seen for a while because of this stinking epidemic. But it's a normal AA meet, or it was actually NA. They invited me to the NA one, and it was they did the exact readings, and everybody's on there. It was awesome. And then Felice showed us a video right before I went on there. It was on Facebook, but that's it, because when you're on that Zoom meeting, you can either, the camera will go to whoever's talking, or you can have the grid view and see everybody. And this video is of the grid view. And the one girl's on there and she forgets that she's on camera, and she walks off and goes and sets her camera down and her phone down and watching it. And she pulls her pants down, starts going to the bathroom, and you see everybody else's faces just start rolling.
Horror.
Everybody else is like, no. And then it took her 5 seconds or so to look over and realize what she had done. And she jumped up and waved it off pretty good.
It was like nonchalant to horror in like 5 seconds.
Yeah, it was hilarious. Right on, brother. We'll see you soon.
Peace out.
24/7 online meeting site. Where is that? Did they put a link in the thing?
I just
What, buddy?
see a
Oh,
link.
she said thanks, Link.
Oh.
Hey, this one knows.
Speak up when you talk.
Hey, thanks for spelling my name right.
Wow.
Like at one time.
What's your body fat percentage? I bet you she's at 8 or 10. I know females are a little higher just because it's the way they're made, but 8 to 10.
Maybe try video games.
Mortified. That's there could be it can be excessive if you're not training for something. Do it to remain healthy and then use it as mental health. Think about physical and health going hand in hand. Don't do one more than the other. Well, I guess you figure that one out.
Good Sober James.
Good night, Sober James. Yeah, we're about out of here too.
Loink. That's how I heard him say it. You are worth it, Cody.
Absolutely.
You are loved. Just
Yep.
need to love you.
All right, well, let's read our daily reflection and let's say the Serenity Prayer and we will call it. Today is March 23rd and more reservations.
Where's Mr. Rickers? This is his favorite part.
Yeah, poor Mr. Rickers is going to miss it. Link. Scared me. So we have seen the truth again and again. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. If we are planning to stop drinking, there must be no reservation of any kind, nor any lurking notion that someday we'll be immune to alcohol. To be gravely affected, one does not necessarily have to drink a long time, nor take the quantities some of us have. This is particularly true of women. Potential female alcoholics often turn into the real thing and are gone beyond recall in a few years. These words are underlined in my book. They are true for men and women alcoholics. On many occasions, I've turned to this page and reflected on this passage. I need never fool myself by recalling my sometimes differing drinking patterns or by believing I am cured. I like to think that if sobriety is God's gift to me, then my sober life is my gift to God. Oh, I like that.
It's good.
If sobriety is God's gift to me, then my sober life is my gift to God. I hope God is as happy with his gift as I am with mine. Daily Reflections, March 23rd. That is awesome.
That is good.
Ready? God,
God,
grant us the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen. Amen.
Lynn, I totally picture you riding your bike, pretending you're running away from ghosts as you watch paranormal shows.
Keeps her going fast.
This is good motivation.
Hi, honey.
Hey, Daddy.
All right, you guys. You guys have a good night. Remember, hit that like button, share this video or my channel, and subscribe if you have not already. And we will be back at the same time tomorrow. Remember, Nicole's on. I'm speaking Mountain Time. Nicole's on at 6. Sober James at 7. Then I come up and wrap it up at the late show at 8 o'clock every night until this pandemic's over. Tomorrow, be grateful. Say something nice to the first person you run into. Stay strong. Work your program. And remember, we recover better together.